Greetings pimps. Before we get into the main subject at hand, I must lay out some ground details. If you don't understand what UPB is and why it's not possible to argue against in the context of debate, this video is too advanced for you. Attempting to logically argue against UPB instantly self-detonates in the context of debate, just as saying language has no meaning self-detonates in the context of debate, as you are using language to do so. If you do not comprehend this comparison, this video is too advanced for you. This video is from a purely logical standpoint and there will be no emotion used unless it is an example of someone else's non-argument. Lastly, you must understand that in order to be objective when judging whether an action is immoral, moral, or null, you must separate it from all other actions. If you don't understand that, then objective morality is too advanced for you and you will likely resort to non-argument appeals to emotion to defend your ideals. If you do not understand even one of the previous points, this video is far too advanced for you and you should leave and return when you figure it out. Now that all the idiots are gone, on with the show. From now on it will be assumed the listener is smart enough to have grasped those points and doesn't need them explained. Alright, as we all know, UPB applies to all human beings born, unborn, or dead, as they are still human and thus have objective moral rights. Since there is no objective way to determine when a human reaches the stage of being human or being no longer human, one must have said rights from conception until and after death. To suggest otherwise is a non-argument appeal to authority. If not enacted on with involuntary force by human or nature, they will be born and live their life. The baby is not enacting force onto the mother, as not only does it not comprehend that, but the mother voluntarily engaged in sex where becoming pregnant is a known potential outcome. Just as a member of a voluntary to join commune has to abide by the rules after voluntarily joining. To put this in other terms, this is why UPB does not apply to animals, as no member of their species can understand objective ethics, therefore they do not have objective moral rights and are not morally obligated to follow objectively moral standards. With the baby, however, since humans do understand UPB and objective ethics, they have objective moral rights even though they cannot comprehend them yet. However, since they cannot comprehend morality yet, they are not capable of making moral or immoral choices, just as a bear, penguin, or rhino could never do so. Simply put, killing them through abortion is immoral, as the aborter is subject to objective moral standards, but since the baby has no control over its actions, nothing it does can be immoral or moral, but only can be null, just as a bear killing a human is not an immoral action. One could blame nature for the wrong sperm meeting the egg or doing so in general, but that is of course the act of nature, not a human. Not to mention that claiming you have the right to murder the baby because something bad might happen to the mother is a non-argument appeal to emotion. If that statement made you angry, you were one of the people who failed the starting questions but stayed on the video. We are using logic only here, not emotion. In regards to things such as rape, of course rape is objectively immoral in all cases, but rape and abortion are two separate actions, thus cannot be morally judged together. Remember what I said at the start? In order to be objective and judge the morality of an action in all cases, you must separate it from all other actions. That said, this is not saying you should be forced to have a baby, as that is also an immoral action, just that abortion is objectively immoral. An immoral action does not necessarily have to be opposed by a moral action. And just as with the previous example, saying you have the right to kill the baby because a different person raped you is a non-argument appeal to emotion. You of course would have the right to kill the rapist, as that is self-defense, and self-defense is a null action, but that goes without saying. In regards to self-defense, no, abortion is not self-defense. As previously discussed, the baby is not aggression upon you, so you do not have the right to lethally defend yourself, just as you don't have the right to beat up your neighbor for whistling a tune in their own front yard. That is that. If you think I missed a point that should be made or applied UPB incorrectly somewhere, leave a comment. Other than that, be aware that any other argument will either self-detonate instantly or be a non-argument appeal to emotion or authority, no matter how much you think it isn't. Anyways, We out. One extra point I thought I'd make after starting to edit: if the baby is deformed, low IQ, is in the womb without a brain or whatever weird hypothetical you want to make up, they still have the same objective moral rights just as any other already born person with those issues has. Now for real, we out.